In the beginning, after God created humanity, he bestowed his power upon witches, instructing them to guide humans in his place. These witches were dedicated to their role, but after thousands of years, humans began to despise and hunt them down. Our story follows a witch named Morgan and her young apprentice, Adonis. They find themselves lost in the desert as Morgan consults her map, struggling to determine their location. Adonis, however, effortlessly opens his Google Maps. Morgan cautions him against using such an unfamiliar device, revealing that they are being pursued. Adonis explains that his invention runs on summoning magic, replacing the need for conventional radio waves, making it impossible for even the Army's technology to track them. He teases Morgan for relying on a paper map even in the modern era, calling her lame, but she imparts a lesson on him and tells him to stop sulking. Adonis asks her about why they have to keep running. Morgan explains that it's just how they have to live now since people's attitudes towards witches have changed. All she can do is try to blend in the cities, saying she's more like a ninja rather than a witch. We come to know that the two are looking for a place that's more accepting of witches so that they can live in peace. Morgan thinks they'll need to find a place with a school for him, but Adonis says he just wants to keep learning from her and live with her. Morgan teases him about liking older women, which makes him blush but replies that he only prefers her. As they are about to continue their journey, they are suddenly confronted by a squad of soldiers. Adonis is eager to confront them, but Morgan tells him that he's still too inexperienced. She summons her ice magic, preparing to defend themselves. Meanwhile, in the Empire of Redia, Emperor Goeth receives a report on their failed attempt to capture Morgan. He punishes the messenger for his incompetence and orders her capture at any cost. Morgan successfully defeats the soldiers and urges Adonis to flee with her. Adonis questions why he wasn't allowed to fight, saying he could have handled the soldiers, as he summons an enormous sword to prove his point, but Morgan tells him once again that he's still too inexperienced in using magic. Adonis speculates it's because he's human and Morgan doesn't want him to harm his own kind. He declares his desire to protect her, which deeply touches Morgan, and she comes to know of his feelings. Just as they are about to depart, one of the soldiers' devices activates, revealing their location. The ground suddenly starts to shake, and the two are surrounded by a green light. They are shocked by what's going on, but they manage to stick together as they are teleported away. We see the Emperor addressing his people. He talks about how they used to rely on witches for knowledge and their protection, but he thinks it's absurd that they must always be inferior to them. Thanks to their countless developments in technology, they have become strong, so he declares that it's their time to eradicate the witches and establish themselves as the rulers of the world. The people cheer for him, and at that moment, Morgan and Adonis suddenly appear. They are shocked at their situation, and they recognize they are in front of the Emperor. Adonis attempts to buy time for his loving master to escape but fails and ends up being restrained. Morgan threatens to kill everyone around if they don't release him, but the Emperor remains unfazed. As Morgan prepares her spell, she reflects on her desire for Adonis to have a home to return to, revealing she didn't actually want to kill them. However, her magic abruptly shatters. She can't believe what's happening, and the Emperor tells her she has no idea of the level their science has advanced and how her magic is stopped due to an underground device. All the people laugh at her. Adonis tries to use his magic, but his power is also gone. The shameless Emperor tells Morgan that the age of the witches is over as he breaks her protective gear, exposing her melons and physically assaulting her. Adonis gets angry and breaks free but is soon overpowered. The Emperor orders his men to kill Adonis, prompting Morgan to beg for his life, claiming she kidnapped and enslaved him, so there's no reason to kill him. She offers her life in exchange for Adonis's safety, leaving Adonis in shock. Adonis continues to struggle, attempting to use his magic, but it's futile. The Emperor prepares to execute Morgan. She expresses her gratitude to Adonis, recalling their first meeting and shared moments of happiness. But before she could finish saying "I love you too," the Emperor shoots her, and every part of her virgin body gets shredded by the firing squad. Man, what a waste! Adonis watches in horror as the emperor proceeds to display Morgan's head to the people. Ten years later, in one of the Empire's detention facilities, two women quarrel over a loaf of bread. A girl named Doro intervenes, offering to share her portion. The woman quickly snatches it, but Doro's friend Anna wonders if she'll be okay without food. Doro pretends how much energy she has, so she does not worry. Anna can't believe how Doro can still help others even in such a situation. She reflects on the ongoing turmoil despite the eradication of witches and how advancements in technology kept coming, but there has still been endless war. And we come to learn that they are prisoners of war. Doro tries to cheer her friend up with a puppet show. The guards suddenly come in, calling for a prisoner with the number 218. The other girls whisper that the people who get called never come back, and we come to know that number 218 is Anna, Doro's friend. The guard demands 218 to come out, and Doro ends up stepping forward. Anna cries as Doro has swapped her number with her. Man, she is such a kind soul, unlike gold diggers. Doro is taken to the warden, and we learn that the girls are being sold as slaves. She can't believe her fate, and the warden takes a selfie with her and orders the guard to upload. Doro suddenly bites his finger, and she manages to escape, even managing to take the warden's phone. As she tries to use it to open all the other cells, but the thong requires the warden's voice to work. So she tries to mimic the impression of the warden, and it actually works. This makes me realize that they're not developed as much as the perverted emperor likes to show it off, just so he gets immune to seeing melons as he doesn't want to lose like this guy. As she opens all of the cells, she tells everyone to run, and chaos ensues. As she navigates through the facility, eventually finding herself in a mysterious room. She is caught by a guard, but simultaneously, a containment unit unlocks, revealing a person who is completely sealed. The man breaks free, and we see that it's the same Adonis whose soon-to-be wife's balloons were exposed in public and murdered by the perverted emperor. The guards begin to panic upon seeing him break free, but he instantly leaps onto one of them, swiftly incapacitating him. The other guard attempts to shoot him, but he skillfully parries the attack and returns fire, taking down the second guard. Doro feels a sense of fear as he draws near. He fires at Doro, but unexpectedly, he sets her free. Chaos ensues among the guards as they scramble to regain control of the situation. Meanwhile, at the National Security Bureau, Director Yamato receives a report about the incident. He promptly instructs his executive, Ika, to handle it, and Ika eagerly agrees. However, Yamato's sister, Yuki, disapproves of his nonchalant attitude. She reminds him that they are the pillars of order in the Empire, but Yamato tells her it's okay, reminding her that there's a reason that he's an executive. Back in the prison, the warden panics as he discovers Adonis has escaped. He ponders how Doro could have opened his cell, as even his smartphone, which is actually a piece of junk, shouldn't have had the clearance to release him. To make matters worse, it appears that Adonis' magic pen is missing as well. Adonis is now outside and tries his magic for the first time in a decade. He discharges his firearm, conjuring an enormous bullet that collides with a building, signaling his intention to wreak havoc upon the city. Back at the prison, Ika is seen cleaning up but reports that he hasn't located Adonis. Upon hearing about the attacked building, he prepares to investigate but deals with the pig-looking warden first. Doro also manages to escape, but witnessing the destruction Adonis has caused, she blames herself for releasing him. As Adonis walks through the streets, he contemplates how his master would disapprove of seeking revenge, yet he cannot let go of the past. He summons a colossal robot and embarks on a rampage. Meanwhile, an officer receives a report of the chaos, but he initially dismisses it as a prank. A car unexpectedly crashes through a wall, and the driver is shocked by the chaos outside. The officer believes the driver to be intoxicated until he witnesses the unfolding destruction. Yamato and Yuki observe from a distance and confirm that Adonis is behind the attack. Yamato considers using their magic suppression device to stop him, but is reminded that it hasn't been used in a decade, raising doubts about its effectiveness. A state of emergency is declared, and tanks are deployed. They fire at the giant, but their shots consistently miss. In a retaliatory act, Adonis smashes a building and hurls debris at his adversaries. The narrative briefly explains that for humans to use magic, writing-style summoning magic is the only way. It works by comprehending and systemizing the mechanisms of magic, and even though he was shut away for 10 years, he was able to practice it in his mind. He believes that all those who benefited from his master's death are equally guilty, and he is determined to wipe out the entire country. He summons 2 Gatling guns and begins mowing down everyone. But despite exacting his revenge, it doesn't bring the satisfaction he expected, and he starts to weep. Ika spots Adonis in the giant's hand, and the National Security Bureau deploys its jets. They bombard him with missiles. Inadvertently endangering civilians. A massive building is on the verge of collapsing onto a child, but Doro saves the child just in time. She apologizes for her actions and vows to make amends. Meanwhile, at the palace, we see the perverted Emperor bedridden, suffering from an incurable illness, which I believe is a curse cast upon him by the witch, because she wanted her beloved Adonis to see her melons first, but he ends up seeing them instead. So now he contemplates whether it's really a divine curse. But he still remains unrepentant for his past actions, believing that eliminating the witches was a necessary sacrifice for humanity's sake. Adonis continues battling the soldiers on the ground, but his magic proves overpowering, wiping them out. As he's about to eliminate the last soldier, Doro pleads with him to stop, expressing her desire to prevent more innocent casualties. However, this angers Adonis, as he only frees her because she is from a different country, but now he contemplates eradicating everyone. Doro reminds him that his late master, Chloe, would disapprove of his current actions, but Adonis vehemently objects to her using his master's name. He suspects that the humans are using her as a distraction, as they have a history of employing underhanded tactics. Doro discloses that she's a witch, shocking Adonis, who believed witches no longer existed. She asserts that some of them survived. Adonis questions why they didn't try to save his master, to which she explains that they were desperate to escape themselves. Adonis is reluctant to accept her apologies, but Doro says she infiltrated the country to find him and reveals their plan to use his memories to bring his master back to life. Adonis prepares to end her life, but as he gazes at her, he's reminded of his master's face. Overwhelmed with emotion, he breaks down in tears. Doro reassures him that he's no longer alone, but her moment of comfort is shattered as she is shot. Leaving Ika in disbelief for missing Adonis. While Adonis's rage and hatred towards human moves to a whole new level, we then see Doro's flashback to when she was just a child when the humans began their assault on the witches. We see soldiers killing and assaulting the witches everywhere. Amidst that, one of the witches hugs her from behind. The name of this witch is Mia. She explains to Doro that the humans suddenly attacked them. Doro is confused because the humans and the witches got along so well until recently. Doro thinks they can use magic to protect themselves, but Mia tells Doro that a machine is suppressing their magic. Mia tells Doro to run. As Doro is running, soldiers surround Mia and kill her. We're then brought back to the present, where Doro is shot. Adonis holds Doro in his arms and asks her how he can bring Chloe back to life. Just when Doro is about to tell Adonis something, the soldiers start shooting, and we see Doro is riddled with bullets. Adonis is enraged after seeing this. The sniper who shot Doro is still on the roof, telling Director Yamato that the witch is dead. The soldiers start shooting at Adonis. But he takes out his pen, casting his magic to protect him from bullets. Adonis then uses a spell named Canes that deflects all the shots towards the soldiers shooting at him, killing all the soldiers near him. The sniper is ready to take his shot and shoots towards Adonis. But Adonis stops the bullet before hitting him and uses a spell named Written Style Summoning Magic, Maximum Canes, something whatever which enlarges the shell as he shoots it back towards the sniper, which splits the crazy sniper in half. Meanwhile, Yuki, who seems to have a brother's complex, is standing before the magic photon suppression device and is ready to activate it. But she is interrupted by a team from the National Science Agency. Director Theta of the National Science Agency tells Yuki that she cannot allow Yuki to activate the device. Yuki requests an explanation from Director Theta. Then Director Theta calls Captain Yamato from Yuki's phone and explains they still don't understand things, such as the particles emitted by the magic photon suppressing device, as she mentions human cellular dysfunction disease. Captain Yamato says it's the illness developed by soldiers who participated in the witch hunts 10 years ago. Director Theta explains that they cannot say for sure due to many factors. Still, they believe these particles affect the human body, but this device kills cells. Captain Yamato claims that he did not know about this. Director Theta tells Captain Yamato that the National Science Agency hid it. She further explains that no more witches are left to restore the natural environment. The atmosphere that would have cleansed these harmful rays is gone. Nature has fallen out of grace.
A mere woman.
As things are now, if a human body were exposed to massive particles, it would be destroyed. We can see that Adonis is still on a killing spree and is looking unstoppable. Yuki, who doesn't care about anything else than winning her brother's affection, rushes towards the device to activate it. Director Theta tells all the units to evacuate the area as she runs towards Yuki to stop her. Yuki starts the device, and Adonis' pen falls off his hands. We then see that Yuki and Director Theta are covered in blood because of the exposure as Director Theta successfully deactivates the device on time. Meanwhile, Captain Yamato then orders all units to advance and attack Adonis. Adonis tries to take his pen back but falls. Then, a soldier breaks the formation and appears before Adonis, pointing her gun towards Adonis. Suddenly, a building falls between the soldiers and Adonis, blocking their vision, and the soldiers cannot see what is happening between Adonis and that female soldier. Activates her thermoblade. Adonis thinks that he is going to die and that he will finally be able to meet Cole. With this, that female soldier beheads Adonis. She then brings Adonis' head and declares that she killed the witch's apprentice. Everyone starts celebrating and praising the female soldier for her bravery. Captain Yamato instructs all units to collect Adonis' body and confirm the damage done to each city area. After some time passed, we see the perverted emperor giving a speech with an oxygen mask on. He says that magic survived. Those abominable occult arts remained in the world. The boy they took from the witch's hands 10 years ago had been unleashed upon the world, and it was the worst possible outcome, long-term prisoner and witch's apprentice, Adonis. Despite being human like them, that fiend was a remnant of the terrible old world enthralled by magic. Even after 10 years, they have not determined how Adonis used magic as a human. The king also has regrets about letting Adonis live 10 years ago. But he declares that there is nothing to fear as this is Redia, the pinnacle of the world. The power of science they have acquired and their iron-willed troops will yield to no evil. The old world is gone, and the god is dead. This nation is now God. Man, this perverted emperor is seriously pissing me off. We then see that a girl was watching the speech from her phone inside the school. The girl then visits a memorial after her class. That girl's name is later revealed to be Eri, and we see a flashback where she left her lover Tekuma to die to save herself. We also come to know that she is attracted to Adonis, finding him hot enough to turn her on as she looks at his photos. Suddenly, she is interrupted by a government employee who promises not to snitch on her and let her go. But the moment Eri leaves, a government employee named Oz calls someone and tells them that a high school girl is running down Grand Road from Section 6-2. She seems to have been influenced by the terrorist. Oz suggests they seize that girl and tells them to let the National Security Bureau handle it afterwards. Oz predicts that Eri will either be executed or imprisoned for treason. We then find out that Oz is actually the deputy director of the National Intelligence Agency. Chief Oz is talking with his co-worker, Chief Investigator, Miss Charmy. Miss Charmy tells Chief Oz that some unbelievable analysis just came in and asks Chief Oz to return right away. Chief Oz asks Miss Charmy for the gist of the investigation. Miss Charmy then declares that the witch's apprentice, Adonis' body, is a fake. So this revelation hints that Adonis is still alive. Thanks for watching Anitales Recap, and also do mention in the comment section if there is anything that I should be improving on my channel. See you all in the next recap. Goodbyes until then.